Why does one continent embrace vehicles that seem to stretch across entire lanes, while another chooses cars compact enough to slip through the tightest city streets? North America's highways are filled with towering pickup trucks and full-size SUVs, symbols of space, distance, and capability, while South America relies on compact hatchbacks and efficient sedans designed for dense urban life and rising fuel costs. This contrast isn't random. It's a layered outcome shaped by geography, infrastructure, psychology, and decades of economic realities. The same journey on a map becomes two entirely different mobility philosophies, one built on vast landscapes and long-range comfort, the other defined by practicality, agility, and survival in tight, bustling cities. To understand this divide, we need to look beyond vehicle size and into the environments that shape driving itself. CarMap examines how geography, infrastructure, lifestyle, and economic pressure form two contrasting mobility systems across the Americas. What begins as a difference in roads and cities becomes a distinct way of thinking about freedom, efficiency, and the role a car plays in daily life. North America's preference for large vehicles begins with the sheer physical scale of the continent. Distances between cities are vast, and major regions are connected by wide, multi-lane highways designed for long-range travel at stable, high speeds. In such an environment, larger vehicles offer tangible advantages: a smoother ride across long stretches, more cargo space for extended trips, and a sense of security during hours spent on open roads. Geography sets the expectation that a car is not only transportation but a companion for distance, comfort, and mixed terrain. Meanwhile, South America presents an entirely different landscape. Many of its major cities, Sao Paulo, Buenos Aires, Bogota, Lima, grew rapidly and densely, shaped by narrow streets, irregular urban grids, and limited parking. Daily travel is often short-range, congested, and highly dynamic. In this setting, compact cars become not just convenient but essential. Their size allows drivers to maneuver through tight lanes, navigate traffic jams, and find parking in crowded urban centers where space is at a premium. Climate adds another layer to this divergence. North America spans harsh winters, desert heat, mountain passes, and storm-prone coastlines. These conditions reward vehicles with higher ground clearance, stronger frames, and optional AWD or 4x4 systems, features more commonly found in SUVs and pickup trucks. By contrast, much of South America lies in warmer or tropical climates where weather rarely necessitates heavy, high-power vehicles. Most roads do not require the robustness of full-size trucks. Instead, efficiency and lightness become practical advantages. Taken together, distance, terrain, and climate build two different expectations of what a vehicle should accomplish. One region asks for endurance and capability, the other demands agility and efficiency. Geography does not merely influence preference, it quietly establishes the rules of mobility that shape every later choice. If geography sets the physical rules of mobility, culture shapes the emotional meaning of the vehicle. In North America, cars, especially large ones, carry symbolic weight. The pickup truck is more than a tool. It represents independence, capability, and a connection to a frontier identity that still influences modern life. Suburban living reinforces this narrative. Families often live farther from city centers, rely on weekly bulk shopping, and travel long distances for work or recreation. A larger vehicle naturally fits the rhythm of a lifestyle built around space, comfort, and personal freedom. In contrast, South America's cultural relationship with cars is rooted in practicality. Urban life is dense, dynamic, and often unpredictable. Commuters value vehicles that help them navigate tight streets, crowded districts, and limited parking. Smaller cars become expressions of smart urban living rather than compromise. Their compact scale matches a cultural emphasis on efficiency, spending less fuel, maintaining lower operating costs, and adapting quickly to fast-moving city environments. Perception of status also differs significantly. In North America, size can easily be interpreted as a marker of safety, stability, and even personal success. Advertising reinforces this by depicting SUVs conquering mountains or trucks hauling massive loads, scenes that resonate deeply with cultural ideals of self-reliance. Meanwhile, in South America, status is less tied to vehicle size and more linked to functionality within constraints. A well-maintained compact car can signal practicality and financial responsibility, traits often valued as highly as luxury. Daily routines further widen the gap. Many North American households depend heavily on their cars for nearly every activity, from school drop-offs to long weekend drives. South American drivers, however, frequently use a mix of transportation, public transit, motorcycles, walking, making the car just one tool among many, rather than the centerpiece of mobility. Together, culture and lifestyle convert the physical environments described in Part 1 into lived experience. They determine not just what people drive, but why they feel comfortable driving it. Economic structure plays a decisive role in shaping what people can realistically own, and here the contrast between the two continents becomes even sharper. North America's higher average income allows households to absorb the cost of larger vehicles, both at purchase and throughout their lifetime. Fuel expenses, maintenance, insurance, and depreciation weigh less heavily on budgets. As a result, consumers enjoy greater freedom to choose models that prioritize comfort, power, and space rather than strict cost efficiency. South America operates under a very different financial landscape. Import taxes are often high, inflation affects purchasing power, and financing rates can be steep. Many countries impose additional duties on vehicles with larger engines or imported components, making midsize or full-size SUVs significantly more expensive relative to income. This pushes consumers toward compact models that are cheaper to buy, easier to repair, and more predictable in long-term ownership costs. Efficiency becomes an economic necessity, not just a preference. Fuel prices amplify the divide. While North America benefits from lower relative fuel costs and widespread energy infrastructure, South America often faces higher fuel prices compared to average wages. A small engine offering strong mileage becomes not merely practical, but essential for daily commuting. This economic pressure also shapes manufacturer strategies. Brands operating in South America prioritize small displacement engines, flexible fuel systems, and lightweight platforms designed to minimize running costs. Demographics further influence the market. South America has a younger population, with many first-time buyers entering the market. Affordability and practicality dominate their decision-making. Meanwhile, North American buyers are more likely to be established families or repeat purchasers seeking upgrades and premium features, a pattern that naturally favors larger vehicles. Together, economy, policy, and demographics reinforce the cultural and geographic foundations laid earlier. They turn preference into pattern and pattern into market identity. Market dynamics amplify every geographic and economic pattern discussed earlier, turning individual preferences into long-term structural trends. In North America, automakers have spent decades refining and expanding their SUV and pickup lineups because these vehicles deliver strong margins and stable demand. As consumers gravitated toward larger models, manufacturers responded with even more variety, offering crossovers, full-size SUVs, luxury trucks, and specialized off-road trims. This supply-side reinforcement created a self-sustaining loop. More models encouraged more buyers, and more buyers justified even larger investments in the segment. In South America, the loop moves in the opposite direction. Automakers focus heavily on compact cars, developing platforms that maximize efficiency, affordability, and durability in challenging urban conditions. Brands like Fiat, Renault, and Volkswagen maintain strong sales by optimizing small vehicles for local infrastructure and cost-sensitive consumers. The market rewards simplicity, lightweight designs, small displacement engines, and flexible fuel capability become essential selling points. Electrification introduces another layer of divergence. In North America, EV adoption is led by SUVs and crossovers, mirroring existing consumer preferences rather than reshaping them. The Tesla Model Y, Ford Mustang Mach-E, and various electric pickups show that even the transition to new technology preserves the bias toward larger footprints. In South America, higher EV prices and limited charging infrastructure slow EV penetration, leading consumers to favor hybrids or efficient combustion models, segments dominated by compact cars. Dealer networks and service ecosystems further reinforce the divide. North America's extensive infrastructure supports complex, heavy vehicles with advanced electronics and large drivetrains. In contrast, many South American regions depend on simpler mechanical systems and lower cost maintenance, making compact cars easier to sustain over time. These market forces don't just reflect consumer behavior, they shape it. Over years and decades, they create a sense of normal in each region. Big vehicles feel natural in North America, while compact mobility defines everyday life in South America. When the pieces come together, the divide between North and South America becomes less about vehicle size and more about two distinct mobility ecosystems shaped over generations. Geography establishes the physical boundaries of daily movement. Culture builds expectations around what a vehicle should represent. Economics determines what is feasible, and market dynamics reinforce those choices until they feel inevitable. In North America, the result is a mobility system designed around distance and comfort. Large vehicles thrive because the environment rewards endurance, power, and interior space. Cultural narratives celebrate independence and capability, while a strong economy and robust automotive industry sustain a market where SUVs and pickups dominate every segment, including the emerging EV landscape. Over time, these factors fuse into a collective mindset in which size symbolizes safety, flexibility, and status. South America's system evolves in the opposite direction. Dense cities and challenging traffic conditions elevate agility over volume. Cultural norms favor practicality, and economic pressures make efficiency a daily priority rather than an optional value. Manufacturers respond by optimizing compact vehicles that align with local infrastructure, income realities, and maintenance ecosystems. Here, mobility is defined not by conquering vast distances, but by navigating constrained, ever-moving urban spaces. What emerges is not a simple difference in taste, but a structural divergence shaped by climate, history, policy, and lived experience. Neither continent's preference is arbitrary. Each is a rational adaptation to its environment. And as technologies shift, whether through electrification, new urban planning, or economic transformation, these systems will continue to evolve, but the core logic that shaped them will remain deeply influential. The contrast between North and South America is not simply a preference for large or small vehicles. It is the outcome of geography, culture, economics, and market forces converging over decades. Each region built a mobility system that reflects its realities and priorities. As technology reshapes transportation, these foundations will continue to influence how people move, choose, and define the role of the car. Subscribe to follow the next chapter of this story.